Vancouver Fairview.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and it's indeed a pleasure to return here to this chamber in the middle of the summer to talk about an issue that's very important to all British Columbians, and that is how the BC Liberal government has 1950s solutions for a 21st century issue. Honourable Speaker, the dams that the member from Chilliwack referred to were important in building our capacity in British Columbia, but we have other options available to us today, and that is in fact why the opposition put forward PowerBC, why we will be putting more detail to that plan in the coming months, and why we'll be campaigning hard on the aspects. Unlike the government, Honourable Speaker, we're prepared to put our plan in front of the experts of the BC Utilities Commission so that it can be judged as to what is in fact in the best interests of British Columbians, whether they're First Nations with treaty rights in the peace, whether they're ratepayers, or whether they are taxpayers, or in fact, whether they are workers who would love to see a couple of decades of jobs in every community in British Columbia retrofitting houses, commercial buildings, and public buildings instead of going for a few years to a camp and then waiting for the next boom after the inevitable bust. Honourable Speaker, let's start with the issue of demand-side management and retrofits. Everyone knows the cheapest power is the power that you don't use. That's why, with 5 options to choose from, BC Hydro initially chose demand-side management option 3. Then, at the instruction of this government, because BC Hydro has more power than it can sell, it cut that back to option 2, and it cut demand-side management funding by over 40%. Honourable Speaker, energy efficiency retrofits will spur job creation in construction and manufacturing all across British Columbia. At a minimum, it will be twice the number of jobs as new dam construction, and some estimates say up to 5 times. And the cost, Honourable Speaker? What will be the cost of the energy that is saved through demand-side management? A mere $35 a megawatt hour. As the chair of the Joint Review Panel of Site C said, have we pushed conservation and efficiency as far as they can go? The answer is no. Honourable Speaker, there are other options, economic options for British Columbia. We recently saw, a few months ago, the Canadian Wind Energy Association close its British Columbia operations. It said it was closing these operations because there is no prospect with the construction of Site C for new wind projects to be built. And yet, Honourable Speaker, wind energy costs have fallen 58% in 5 previous years, while the price of solar power in the US, another renewable option, has dropped a whopping 70% since 2009. What is the BC Liberal answer to these improving technologies and prices that keep going down? It is to invest billions of dollars of taxpayer money, saddling ratepayers with unlimited future rate increases to build a project with old technology in one corner of the province on needed agricultural land, trampling on First Nations right with a budget that keeps climbing, with a contingency that's spent and at a cost that is yet to be determined. Honourable Speaker, we can do far, far better than that. Even if we needed capacity in the short term, and we know that Site C will lose $200 million for its first 4 years in operation minimum, we could add a 6th turbine at Revelstoke. We'd get 45% of the capacity of Site C for about 5 to 6% of the cost. If that's what the member from Chilliwack thinks is building BC, Honourable Speaker, we have different ideas and better ideas. Let me simply close, Honourable Speaker, with a quote from a recent article by the person who chaired the Joint Review Panel on Site C, the respected Harry Swain. He said, and I quote, "The bottom line, BC Hydro is going hell for leather in pursuit of a wildly unprofitable project that will cost us, its owners, billions. And that's without accounting for more significant adverse environmental effects than any project that has ever been approved before, nor for the further erosion of the treaty rights of the First Nations
Thank you,
of
Member.
the peace. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.